We find ways in relationships to prove that love is unsafe or that this person's going to leave me. We find ways to prove that no matter how hard I try, I'm not good enough. And we have a whole lifetime of evidence to prove all of this is true. So every time we go back and we work at this core level, this is where I begin with men and women, and it's discovering who you were born to be, not taught to be.
Mm.
Discovering who you were at your core before you were shaped and painted with the same brush as everyone else. And the more we come back to this and the more we remove these layers that we've placed on ourselves based on our childhood, based on what we experience, based on schooling, based on all of this stuff, we start removing all of these layers of armor that we've placed on ourselves. And what we find within is this beautiful, perfect, golden essence that was already always there. That was abundant, that was more than worthy enough from the beginning. And to bring that into context, there's 1 in 400 trillion chance of us being born. And it takes 400,000 ancestors for you and me to be alive today. And if you zoom out enough, you'll see that we're just a giant rock flying through space. And we're just like little ants running around on this giant rock. It's like if that's not a miracle to you, I don't know what is. So the fact that you were born says enough. You're a miracle. And to feel that you're not worthy enough or good enough to be loved is based on a story. So it's very much, for me, it's helping people come back to that, uncover who they truly are at their core, and then seeing themselves through the eyes of that, seeing themselves through the eyes of who they actually are at their core, and then being fully expressed as that. This is what I call the golden shadow. This is recognizing the abundance, unconditional love that's within all of us and being that in the world. Yeah.
Unconditional love, that is, what was that? The unconditional love that is, what did you say? The unconditional love, that of who we really are, because underneath all that, we are worthy. And why do men, I see a lot, struggle with worthiness?
Mm.
Is it because of the core wound of their relationship with their mother and father?
Typically, yeah. What I've found to be true, yes. And for my experience, yes. And on an unconscious level, I spent majority of my life trying to prove my worth to my dad, for him to just tell me that he's proud of me, to get the tick of approval that you have what it takes, like you're a man. How that looked was me. He always had really, really high standards for me. And I would always try and do my best to try and meet those standards. And when I couldn't meet those standards, I felt like I wasn't good enough or worthy enough for his approval. So unconsciously, majority of my life has been me trying to prove myself to other people, right? But actually, it's me trying to still prove myself to my dad.
Mm.
And when we really understand that, a lot of this, we feel that we're doing it for, ourselves, or for, we're doing this because we're creating impact. We're doing this because of our family. But deep down, it's when we're unconscious to it, it's typically because we're still trying to prove our worth to dad. In that sense, that's what was real for me anyway. One of the biggest pain points that I've really become aware of that a lot of men struggle with is the nice guy, is the people pleaser, is the man who doesn't lack that assertiveness within himself, the man that's out of touch with his anger and his inner warrior that can really stand for something. Men that people can't fully depend on emotionally because they're depending on other people emotionally because they don't have themselves. They don't have that pillar of emotional support within themselves. And this typically comes from the mother wound. When a boy receives inconsistent love and nurturing from his mother, which is his greatest source of love, He will become whoever he needs to be in order to receive that.
Mm.
He will shape himself and shape shift himself in order to be loved and approved by people. He will avoid conflict at all costs. He will lie because if he was to share his truth, it's not worthy enough to be loved. I made this core decision when I was a little boy that who I was at my core was not good enough to be loved, so I must be someone else. I must shapeshift myself. I must wear all these different masks. I must do everything in my power to keep my partner happy. Because if people are unhappy with me, that means they don't love me. And if I'm not loved, then that pokes my deepest wound of that I'm worthless. And this is very evident for like a lot of men that I work with, this deep core mother wound, because they've typically been raised by quite masculine driven women who haven't created that safe, loving, nurturing, consistent upbringing for them, that safe space for them as little boys. And until a man learns how to hold his own inner child and meet the needs of his own inner child, he'll forever be dependent on his partner emotionally. He'll most likely continue to seek approval, validation from the feminine, from women, majority of his life. And in doing so, lacking the ability to really show up as the provider and to keep his purpose in the center and make his purpose his absolute number one priority and mission in life. What men tend to do when they have this core wound of abandonment from the mother wound is they will make receiving love from the feminine their number one priority. So they step away from their true core as the masculine, which is living a life on purpose. And I believe this robs a lot of men from a deep level of fulfillment and happiness, and really being the providers for their family as well, because their purpose is not their main priority. It's to be accepted by their partner and to not upset anyone else, to keep everyone happy and to walk on eggshells so no one's going to be upset with them. Because if people are upset with them, then they're not loved, right? So this has been one of the most painful wounds that I've come across with a lot of the men that I work with all over the world. And it really shows up in relationships and really affects them in relationships. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So what does purpose mean to you? And how can a man find his purpose?
Yeah, great question. I believe our purpose is actually, I'll bring it back to, as I was speaking about the essence of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
If we look out in nature, the nature is always just growing and evolving. The purpose of our soul is also growth and evolution and evolving. This is why we go through seasons just as nature does. Seasons are there for us to let go of the old, bring in the new. Seasons are there for us to experience challenge so we can grow and rise through those challenges and evolve. So I truly believe that at the soul level, the soul's purpose is growth, evolution, and expansion. And before the human, we are just energetic beings, souls, having a human experience. And recognizing that when we remove the human from it, everyone's purpose is growth, evolution, and expansion at a soul level. And the more that we come back to that and allow ourselves to grow, evolve, and expand beyond the human, getting out of the soul's way with the human, right? So allowing ourselves to actually, this is, listening to our heart, right? Is us getting out of our own way and allowing that growth, evolution, and expansion to unfold. So I believe our purpose is coming back to who we are at our soul essence, which was who we were born to be. It was who we were before we decided to be a certain way. I believe our purpose is uncovering all the layers of shit that we've placed on ourselves based on what we've experienced throughout our life. And I believe our purpose is uncovering and discovering all of those layers and discovering who we are at our absolute core. And then how we express that into the world is then our mission. And our mission is how we bring our true soul's purpose to the world. And that's what I believe most people think their purpose is this thing outside of them. I believe our greatest purpose should be us. It should be the absolute growth and expansion of who we are, and then finding a way to express that into the world. And the more that I've done that, the more it's been evident that the more I bring the energy back into here, the more I uncover and discover all of the energetic limitations, the more I get out of my own way and allow my soul and my heart to lead and speak, the more my life's been a direct reflection of that, because our external world is a direct reflection of what's happening internally. And the more I've allowed myself to get out of my own way, yeah, like I said, it's been very evident